I was 12 when I began to play guitar, and at that time, most electric guitars were strung with what we would now consider fairly heavy strings. Something like 12 to 52 or even 13 to 56, with a wound third, of course. That's what my Jazzmaster would have been strung with. No wonder my little fingers got so sore trying to hold down a D chord. It was around that time that Ernie Ball changed the game when he began marketing his famous Slinkies. Now, they were 10 through 46, and that's remained the most popular gauge all these years later. By my teens, it seemed like everyone was using them. Even my dad, who had been a pro since the 40s. Now, at some point after Jimi Hendrix burst upon the scene, I began using his favored Fender 150 strings. And those were gauged 10 through 38. Yes, on my Jazzmaster. You see, back then there was no internet telling me that wouldn't work. And to be fair, I had a lighter touch in those days. Still, the high E string would occasionally pop off the bridge, and I became very adept at popping it back on without missing a beat. Now, sometime in the 70s, I went to 10 through 46 and stayed there. But now, things are changing. There's a well-known story about B.B. King picking up Billy Gibbons' guitar and asking Billy, "Why are you working so hard?" Which directly led to Gibbons going to super light gauge strings, 7 to 38 in fact. Now, playing show after show after show can lead to soreness regardless of experience, and I've tried several times to switch to lighter strings myself. For me, it was never about tone, but strings lighter than 10s just never felt right. Still, age catches up with all of us, and over the past few months, I've noticed my left hand getting tired and a bit achy on longer shows. Now, no one wants to struggle through the last set, so I decided I needed to make a change. And this time, I'd have to stick with it. So a couple months back, I strung my guitars with 9 through 42, and I resolved to just get used to it. Well, it's been fine, but still maybe not 100% comfortable yet. So I decided maybe I'd go with 9.5 through 44. Now, I'd also tried these before, years ago, but honestly, at the time, they felt closer to 9s than to 10s, and again, I immediately went back to my regular 10s. Of course, at that time, I didn't have any pressing need to switch. But now I do, and the 9.5 seem like they could be a good compromise, if they'll lower the tension enough to solve the problem. Then I saw Stringjoy advertising their Soft Touch strings. Now, I'd never tried the Stringjoy brand. They're significantly more expensive than the GHS boomers I've been using for years now, but I have heard good things. Now, of course, there's a percentage of players who tend to think more expensive automatically equals better, even though a lot of pros just buy whatever quality strings cost less. In any case, the company claims their soft touch strings are lower tension for greater comfort and less fatigue. Now, as I understand it, lower tension is achieved by a combination of materials choice and the use of smaller core wire on the wound strings, along with tweaking the gauges for the best balance. Now, the usual 9.5 set, like my GHS boomers, go 9.5, 11.5, 16, 24, 34, 44, whereas the Stringjoy Soft Touch set goes 9.5, 12.5, 16, 25, 33, and 44. I'm not going to speculate about which factor is the most important, but clearly a lot of thought has gone into creating the soft touch strings. In any case, less fatigue is the goal, and today I'm stringing this Strat with the soft touch set, and we'll see if they make a difference. Well, they do feel nice and they sound great. I'd recently strung this guitar with the 9.5 GHS set, and I can confirm there is a difference with the Stringjoy set. But I'd say it's more subtle than dramatic. I'll grab another Strat with the 9.5s for further comparison. Now this Fender Strat came out of the box strung with 10s, and it felt pretty stiff. So I immediately restrung it with the GHS 9.5 set, and now it plays great. Well, obviously it's not apples to apples, since the fingerboards feel very different. But I'd say the Stringjoy Soft Touch strings are a slight improvement. Though, as I said, somewhat subtle. Let's check one more thing. This Strat is strung with regular GHS 9s. Let's see how they might compare. Well, dropping down a gauge, even just from 9.5 to 9, still provides a softer feel, which is to be expected. As for the soft touch strings, well, the real test is always at least a couple sets on stage. And as it turns out, I had the opportunity to try them in a live situation right after testing them here in my studio. And here's what I found. The soft touch set is a slight improvement in comfort over my regular 9.5 set. As to whether they cause less fatigue, perhaps. But it's subtle enough that one show isn't going to tell the story. And more to the point, it's unfortunately not really as much help as just dropping all the way down to 9s. If I were still touring, doing the typical 1-hour shows, I think they might just be the perfect choice. By the way, I should point out that I'm aware other companies also make lower tension strings. But after all the glowing reviews, I really wanted to try the Stringjoy brand. So let me know in the comments if you've tried Stringjoy strings, and also let me know if you've experimented with lower tension strings and found them useful. As always, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I'll give you an update after a few shows and let you know how it all shakes out. Until then, don't forget to like and subscribe, take good care of yourselves, and I will see you again very soon.